Okay, so in this video I'm going to be talking about coronavirus in Bali, Indonesia. And the reason I'm doing it about Bali is because I was there about 2 weeks ago, and I created a video when I was walking down Seminyak Beach, going to Kuta Beach, and I was kind of saying, well, you know, there's little cases here. Let's go check out the road. Okay, I'm the content creator for this channel. If you like what I'm doing, just subscribe and hit the like button. There's little cases here, or maybe there might have been 2 cases at the time. And if you want to go, you know, it's up to you. You know, so I'm kind of saying, oh, just, you know, take a risk. But I want to correct everything, and I want to make sure that I tell people what's going on, because things are changing quite a bit in Indonesia, and people are looking at information that, you know, might, even if it's like a couple of days old, it's already different now. Everything's different. So basically, I just want to kind of talk about something that's right away. I'm going to say that now there's how many cases? 27 cases now. So there's 27 cases, and then as of today, there was, and I'm going to tie this into some other stuff that I've been talking about recently. But as of today, there was one foreigner who died in Bali with the coronavirus, a 53-year-old British woman. So the reason I'm saying that is because you know, we kind of have to be informed about what's exactly going on. So like when I was there was a lot of you know, the newspapers in Singapore, and even Jakarta Post, Indonesian newspaper, was heavily criticizing the government for not recording their data, and there doesn't seem like there was much information available at the time either. So there was a lot of people that were thinking that they just weren't, you know, they didn't want to hurt their tourism. Then even with this woman, and this British woman who died in a Bali hospital, you know, a lot of sources said that the Indonesian government didn't want to disclose her location. So I noticed, you know, if they're in Jakarta or Depok or another place, they'll disclose their location. But if for some reason they won't, you know, if they're in Bali, because it might hurt tourism. And I totally understand that, but at the same time, like, you have to, you know, keep people informed so they can make the right decisions. So that's why I'm creating this video, just to keep people informed and just to let people know what's going on. Let me see. I'm gonna keep on walking this way, I guess. So I'm gonna keep updating some more stuff about Indonesia. In particular, one of the things that I mentioned in another video, and I wanted to mention it in this one too, is that hey. So one of the things I want to mention too is that actually I was coughing when I was in Indonesia, by the way. I want to talk about that too. I got 2 things I want to talk about, as among other ones. But one of them is that I'll do the coughing real quick. But you know, I was coughing in Indonesia, and I was actually aware of the coronavirus. So I was washing my hands. Since I was coughing, I didn't go out socially at all. I just stayed in the hotel, tried to, you know, rest and, you know, and try to recover. And that cough lingered with me for a long time. And I when I left Macau, I didn't have a cough, and I was really careful about who I was talking with. So somehow I picked that up somewhere. Even though I was washing my hands, even though I was doing all the precautions that you're supposed to do, I still picked it up. And the reason I'm telling that to you, oops. Okay, so I might repeat a little bit. I lost my video, so I have to. But basically, when I was in Indonesia, I had a cough, so I started coughing. And the reason I'm saying that is because before, when I left Macau, I was very conscious about trying to see all these different alleys, right? So I was trying very carefully to not get the coronavirus, because it was floating around, right? So but I picked up a cough. So the ironic thing about that is, like, you know, I'm washing your hands, I'm doing all the things you're supposed to be doing. I am basically everything they say, like wash your hands for 20 minutes, do everything, and I still got a cough. So, you know, if I'm able to catch a cough, then I can catch anything, right? So those are the little things that you have to be careful of. I'm gonna walk down this way. So that's kind of why I'm saying, like, even though, you know, you think, oh, I got a mask on, I'm fine, you know, I'm washing my hands all the time, it's not true. Like, you can pick up things easily. So yeah, I picked up a cough there. I also want to go back to another thing that I've been noticing as well. So there's been several tourists, and they write down 4 countries from this one source. This is from Wikipedia. But I was looking at some other stuff that even added people from another country. Basically, you know, travelers that have been in Bali, they'll go back to their hometown. So I wrote down China, Japan, New Zealand, and Singapore. So, you know, the New Zealand person, you know, they're not, you know, I can see, or maybe China, okay. But, you know, New Zealand, so you know, they go to Bali and then they go back, and then New Zealand puts them in their statistics. And, you know, where were you? I was in Bali. You know, so that means that people are getting it in Bali, right? And people are moving it around. So that's actually one of the things I want to talk about is, you know, who's moving this stuff around? It's travelers. You know, I was traveling too. But basically, that's all you have to do is just get on a plane and travel. You go somewhere, and then you can pick it up from somebody else who's also traveling. You're all in a high-risk area. You're all doing tourist things. You're all probably trying to socialize. You know, maybe talking to, you know, people in your hotel or whatever you're doing. You go out, and you know, again, same thing, socializing, interacting. You're exchanging viruses. You know, if you have them, which is what's happening. You know, and there's also, I saw one case recently. They were saying that that if I think it was, what country was that? There's one country where it said like you had to stay like 1 meter apart, and there was some site that had subway trains. So they were saying, but there was somebody in the same train who was like 5 meters apart and gave it to other people in the same train. So then they realized that actually 1 meter is not safe. You know, like not even 5 meters is safe. So basically, even though you don't think you have it or whatever it is, you know, but you know, you can be just transmitting it. So it's basically like, you know, people that are thinking of going to Bali, just be careful. This is that cough that I've had for a while. I think I've picked up a couple coughs somehow. I'm not sure how. Okay, the other thing I want to say is some of the stuff that made Indonesia very questionable was like right away they took 243 people out of Wuhan right when the epidemic started occurring, and all these cases were sick. So they took 243 and they repatriated them. None of them apparently had the coronavirus, but they didn't really have much testing, so it's hard to know what they did. But then they just kind of let them go back into society. 9 from the Diamond Princess, that was also the same too. Beautiful, right? So those 9 were also, you know, just let back into society as well. But then now we see there's a Japanese person who was tested. You know, my other list I had China, Japan, New Zealand, Singapore. There's another person that was in Australia that was visiting from Western Australia, from Perth, who was visiting Bali, went back to Australia, and then he found out he had it. So where to get it? Probably Bali. And then this guy from Japanese guy that knew people in Depok, and he gave the first Depok person, that person was tested in Malaysia later. So that's kind of like how, you know, people are going in and out of Bali and just picking it up there or moving it around. Let me see. So far, Malaysia has tested 450 people. So let's think about that. 450 over the last 5 weeks. Korea is testing 10,000 a day. China, you know, like they're testing like thousands, right? So Indonesia's tested like 450 over the last month. It's like 10 a day, maybe, you know, something like that, 10 a day. And I heard that in Bali didn't even have the facilities. They'd have to ship it to Jakarta. And now suddenly that they have 27, now suddenly these news sources are coming out that they don't have testing kits and Bali doesn't have it. And the hospital isn't really equipped. Alright. Anyways, the point being made is, you know, these things seem to be just kind of festering, and suddenly you hear all these messages in Macau. I'm in Macau right now. Those are just telling people to wash their hands, to don't travel, to wear a mask everywhere. So these are the stuff that's going on here. When I was in Indonesia, there was nothing. I was walking around. I didn't have a mask. You know, I was told that it was 0 cases. So, you know, I felt fine. That's been 2 weeks ago, so I know I didn't actually pick up anything according to the incubation thing, but you know, other people are. Okay, so recently there was almost no cases, and then just recently it shot up to 27. I'm looking at some of the stuff. So in yeah, March 8th. Okay, there's another guy. I don't know if this is the same story, but somebody in Perth. So 2 days later after he leaves to Bali, he goes to Western Australia, finds out he has coronavirus. So so there you go. Like he got it there. He didn't know. Traveled somewhere else, and March 8th. Two more people are infected who had known people from the Diamond Princess. So earlier there was 9 that was repatriated, and they were like fine apparently. Apparently they were tested, apparently, and they were fine, so they were let back out in public. And now, yesterday, as of March 8th, 2 other people in Indonesia who knew those people were infected. So there you go. March 9th, 13 new cases, but they won't disclose their location. So won't disclose their location. Okay. 13 cases, you won't disclose the location. Alright. So, what does that mean? Do they disclose the location of other places? Depok and South Jakarta. There was a case in South Jakarta. Japanese national went to a bar called Amigos, and then they closed down the place and all kinds of stuff. So okay, so 13 disclosed. They don't want to tell us the location of where that was. I can assume it's probably in Bali. March 10. 2 misdiagnoses. So later they were saying the 2 people that they misdiagnosed supposedly had it. They let them back into the public again. So how did that happen? Like, so you kind of wonder, like, it makes you question, you know, like what kind of validity do they have? How are they letting people, you know, in from the Diamond Princess in the place, and then later they infect other people. Other people are going to other countries and getting tested, and then they find out they're positive. So all this stuff is pretty questionable. And then, of course, March 10, 53-year-old British woman dies in Bali at the hospital from coronavirus. So okay, so how many cases are just? Okay, so basically, like, how many cases are happening there? So, you know, some people have been asking me since I think I created 3 or 4 videos about Bali. I'll create some new ones that I'm going to put up when I was there, and you can kind of see for yourself how, if people are wearing masks and what it's like there. Everything was just normal. Everything is fine. That's the thing. Everything is normal, and then you go back to your home country and you find out, oh, dang, I got coronavirus. Where was I? Oh, I was in Bali. So I know there's not a lot of cases yet, but, you know, this thing is just getting started. I think we got a long ways to go, and I think all these tourist areas are going to be affected greatly. And in some ways, it's like, I kind of hate to create a video like this that might hurt Bali tourism, but wouldn't it hurt Bali tourism a lot more if suddenly, you know, like there's like 1,000 in the city because it wasn't properly taken care of, you know? People didn't know it. Wouldn't that hurt tourism a lot more? You know, so it's important to educate people and let people know. And you know, Jakarta Post was trying to educate people. Singapore Straits Times was trying to educate people about the numbers, you know, not being very accurate. So so I don't feel like I'm the only one who's saying this. I'm just confirming. So basically, for people who are thinking about traveling to Bali or to Thailand or any other hotspot tourist area where lots of people are going in and out from around the world, like, just be very, very careful. And some people are saying, oh, should I cancel? I would say you might want to consider that. I don't want to tell anybody exactly, but yeah, you might want to consider it. Okay, if you're curious, behind me is Macau, and I'm just kind of going up. And yeah, this is a pretty heavy tourist area too, so actually I live here, so this is actually my home turf. So I'm not actually staying in hotels and doing all tourist stuff, even though I'm walking in this one. And here's behind me, it's up all the ruins. Okay, so this is a video for Bali, but it could apply for all kinds of other places in Southeast Asia. All right, trust it.